This is not right. This is being selfish of her. For 7 years, I gave whatever she wanted. I get divorced. I start living away from my family.
Here's where hidden tales come alive with real feeling. This time, you're stepping into the jarring reality of Jenny Slatin alongside Sumit Singh, two people who started out glowing with promise until everything cracked apart. What looked like destiny slowly twisted sideways. People watched closely, drawn in by their charm, still missing what simmered underneath all along. Jenny, 60-something, from America, walked away from everyone she knew, her relatives, her circle, even her past, for Sumit, someone younger, born in India. Online messages first, just light talk, yet those words grew heavier by the day. Though years stood between them, traditions clashed, and voices at home warned her, she felt sure he was the one meant for her. Everything, home, safety, familiarity, she offered it up without pause. He showed himself as kind, determined, always pushing through resistance to stay close to her. What looked like devotion pulled her forward. Beautiful was how people described their tale. Not only did supporters respect Jenny's boldness, yet also her way of stepping into Indian customs, while Sumit showed grit facing resistance at home. What seemed like a bond beyond limits, ignoring years between them, heritage gaps, miles apart, appeared unshakable. Still, once we looked closer, beneath the polished surface, cracks began showing. Reality wasn't quite what it first sounded. Right away, everything felt off, though Jenny refused to see it. Everyone thought Sumit was loyal, yet behind that warm grin hid something darker than anyone guessed. Little signs crept in, evenings stretching too long, quiet phone calls, silence where laughter used to be. She told herself it was nothing, maybe just pressure from starting over somewhere unfamiliar. What slipped her mind? His world was cracking apart, collapsing under secrets even imagination couldn't reach. The person she walked away from her life for carried hidden shadows. Not long ago it began as small bets online, now it gnaws at the foundation of their existence. Debt piled high, $290,000 under false calm. Beneath charming words and nightly vows, cracks spread fast through his made-up version of peace. Silence grew louder than truth while he spun stories to outrun himself. Each lie fed the habit, each bet buried him deeper. Jenny stayed caught in her feelings, fixated on the world they made side by side. Love can overcome anything, that thought held strong inside her, along with faith that steady support might reshape him. Yet something slipped past her, every step forward pulled her further from clear sight. One lie after another piled high without notice, until the moment came when everything cracked open. It started small, Jenny missing what was right there. Their days felt complete, filled with home-cooked food and wandering streets under hot sun. Meals passed slowly, laughter mixed with spice in the air between them. Yet something shifted when Sumit began staying out late. Quiet bets turned into nightly routines. The joy they once carried everywhere? It dimmed without warning. Still owing more each week, he kept smiling like nothing was wrong. Jenny noticed how quiet evenings grew longer, though she said nothing. A joke here, a change of topic there, that is how he dodged every question. Time moved slowly, but trust slipped away bit by bit. The silence between them thickened until it pressed on her chest without warning. It started with harmless wagers, yet soon spiraled into serious betting. Sumit, cheerful before, now spent hours chasing a windfall, while confusion deepened inside Jenny each morning. Laughter faded at home, replaced by silence, secrets piling up like unread letters. Still, she held on, quietly. Patience, trust, she thought those were enough. Behind her back, though, the one she'd given up everything for carried secrets about money falling apart fast. What seemed like calm was actually the quiet before things cracked wide open. Weeks passed. Jenny saw small shifts in Sumit. Once warm, he now felt far away, mind buzzing with unseen tension. Late nights found him staring at the screen, fingers tapping non-stop. His reasons stacked one after another, work pressure, tiredness, nothing serious. She heard the words, but trusted her hunch more. Something beneath the surface refused to stay hidden. Questions started piling up in her mind. Money vanished without clear reason. His silence around numbers grew heavier each week. Still, Sumit waved concern aside, claiming order behind closed doors. Still, they'd shaped a life side by side in India. Jenny gave up much along the way. Maybe things would somehow work out after all. Away from America now, Jenny traded job and kin just to walk beside Sumit. Harsh words followed, strangers mocked years between them, customs too, but still she stayed. Pushed through every doubt, built each day with effort. Lately though, a quiet unease settled deep beneath her ribs. Love must heal what feels cracked, she told herself again. Held tight to that hope, even when silence inside tugged another way. One day, Sumit started betting, just a bit at first, something light after long hours. Soon enough, those moments stretched longer, filled more space than they should. Not simply fun anymore, but something deeper tugged them back each night. The screen glowing, fingers twitching toward another round. Winds felt sharp, loud, impossible to ignore. Behind closed doors, tiny risks grew teeth without anyone noticing. Jenny saw only quiet evenings, never the numbers flashing past midnight. A rush followed every victory, then came the crash. Winning made Sumit believe he could fix everything, yet losing only fed his silence. The pattern pulled him forward, never letting go. Heavy debt came fast. Money moved from friends' pockets into his, credit limits vanished overnight, then shared savings started disappearing too. Down he went, pulled by the weight of need, while she saw nothing at all. Now it wasn't about cash, life itself tipped into balance. Still, Sumit played along, acting like nothing was wrong. A smile came easily, he calmed Jenny down, yet insisted changes were coming. Hope kept her close, even when things felt off. Jenny backed him up because she trusted he'd get better. Tension filled the air, yet she brushed it aside along with his endless reasons and restless energy around the house. Healing pain with patience, that's what she told herself love was for. With every passing week, though, pieces started slipping through. Nights lost to cards, shifts in temper without warning, moments where he looked right through her, nothing added up. Yet something inside refused to give up. That morning, Jenny looked at Sumit across the kitchen table. Bills sat unopened near the toaster, paper edges curling. Her voice stayed low when she spoke, not sharp but steady. Tell me what's happening with our money. He didn't look away this time. His shoulders dropped, like weight had shifted inside his chest. Words came slow, not excuses. A pause came before he spoke, trying to calm her down. Nothing serious, he claimed, adding that things would get handled. Still, Jenny caught something shaky beneath his words. That moment marked a shift, her trust began to crack. The one she cared for most now seemed like someone else entirely. Soon came the reveal, though Jenny didn't see how much it would shatter her. Truth arrived quietly, nothing like what she expected. With each new day, Jenny worried more. Not the man she trusted, this version of him felt foreign. Sumit, who used to be warm, now carried something dark behind his eyes. A quiet pressure filled their house, thick like damp air before storm. She reached for connection, instead, silence stretched longer than words ever did. That night, right after yet another strained exchange over money troubles, Jenny turned to Sumit again. She had made up her mind, this round would be different. I stayed quiet before, she began, words trembling between anger and dread. Yet still, something inside pushed her forward. This isn't working anymore. Her eyes locked onto his. What came next felt heavy, like air just before storm. For a long pause, Sumit stayed quiet, worry carved into every line of his face. His eyes told Jenny what words couldn't, dread of truth spilling out, dread of her walking away for good. Then, suddenly, like something inside gave way under pressure, he crumpled. Out poured the tears, along with every hidden thing he'd held back. I've been gambling, Jenny, he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. I'm in deep. I've racked up nearly $290,000 in debt. I thought I could win it all back, but I've lost control. Jenny felt it deep in her chest, those words landing hard. A cold weight pulled at her insides when truth about Sumit finally broke through. Not just secrets, this was more, a full unraveling of someone she'd followed without question. He hadn't just bent facts, he'd built another world on false ground. Huge debts stacked high, story after story that never matched up, and trust? Gone. What stung most wasn't the money, it was how completely she believed him. Jenny froze, words gone. Stunned still by what unfolded before her. What path led here? Her partner caught in such ruin, how did she miss it? Truth pressing down like stone. Trust once firm in Sumit now cracked wide open. This grip he's under, it wasn't love steering things after all. When the first wave of surprise faded, rage took its place. Everything Jenny gave up for Sumit, her house, her old life across the ocean, even her relatives, sank in hard. Through every rough patch, she stayed close, ignoring what people said about them, breaking rules just to hold on. Yet here she stood, facing the fallout of stories he made up. That bond they shaped together, once solid, now cracked beyond repair. Out of options, Sumit pleaded with Jenny, voice low, asking to be forgiven. Change would come, he said, every broken thing repaired. Still, doubt curled around her thoughts. Could she trust his words again? Everything she offered now felt wasted, dragging behind her like stones. The person standing there looked familiar, yet spoke and moved like someone else entirely. Yet the damage kept spreading after he admitted it. When Sumit's gambling spun out of control, everything unraveled fast. Those he owed money to, once quiet, started pushing hard. Messages flooded in, letters arrived daily, each one insisting on payment for what he'd borrowed. Now Jenny felt the weight of choices she didn't make. That growing pile of debt pressed down until breathing became difficult. What started as something beautiful turned sour, yet Jenny stayed too long. Though he promised forever, Sumit broke more than trust, his lies piled up like unread letters. Love once lit her days, now it drags behind her like chains. Her heart gave everything, still the silence grew louder than words ever did. Walking away feels heavy, even when staying cuts deeper each morning. Jenny stood there, caught in the middle. Her heart pulled one way because of Sumit, yet that sharp sting of being wronged wouldn't fade. Staying meant mending cracks too deep to ignore. Walking away opened a door she wasn't sure she could close again. Heavy silence settled on her shoulders, then thoughts tumbled through Jenny's head like loose stones. Love for Sumit burned bright, had done for years, yet pain from his actions tore harder than past hurts ever did. Trust once felt unbreakable now bent under repeated dishonesty. Not one mistake, not bad luck, but something slower and worse, routine deception fed by hidden habits. Each lie layered atop another until what stood before her looked nothing like the life she'd shaped day after careful day. Desperate, Sumit kept begging her to forgive him. If only she'd let him try, he said, he'd change, seek help, rebuild what broke between them. Still, doubt spun tight inside Jenny's head. Trusting him again felt impossible, like holding water in her hands. Yet everything shifted once the truth surfaced. How does trust survive after silence like that? She stayed beside someone who looked familiar, though his actions spoke of a stranger. Gone was the version of him etched in her memory, replaced by choices too heavy to ignore. One path kept her rooted, carrying the ache of Sumit's struggles like a stone in her chest. Then there was the other, leaving behind what hurt, stepping into air that didn't sting with every breath. Hard as it was, something quiet inside already whispered which way to go. She loved him, true, yet love alone couldn't glue back what betrayal had shattered. Staying meant fading, walking meant breathing again. The truth sat heavy, not loud, just steady, clear, hers. This time, choosing herself wasn't selfish, it simply was. That night, once the talk with Sumit ended, Jenny decided. Out of India she'd go, away from him, back to America, space to start again, free from his broken promises and endless habits dragging on her spirit. Walking out felt like tearing something inside. She'd given years to them, dreams built high, now facing the ache of letting it all fall silent. Days went by, yet things didn't get blurry, instead, they sharpened. What Sumit did didn't just damage what they shared, it spilled into Jenny's tomorrow. Money owed, false words spoken, eyes watching, it formed a scene she couldn't look away from anymore. All she gave up was meant for this bond, still, breathing space for herself started to matter more. Leaving Sumit wasn't only a goodbye, it became a step towards something real, her own peace, self-respect, even joy. She saw clearly now, after too many silent mornings and broken promises, that staying meant losing more of herself each day. Though love once pulled her close, awareness crept in later. Honesty matters most, especially when pain hides behind closed doors. A bond without truth? That kind never grows, just fades under weight of hidden bottles and whispered lies. Jenny's chest tightened while packing her bags. Not how it was supposed to go with Sumit, dreams of gray hair and shared winters slipping through her fingers. Now here she stood, toes curling over a fresh start, rough ground underfoot yet light seeping in around the edges. The path waiting felt heavy, yes, weighted with unknown turns and long stretches alone. Still, the ache of walking away from Sumit wouldn't vanish quickly. People would talk, no surprise there. Deep down, though, she carried a quiet certainty, moving on fit better than staying ever could. Leaving India behind, Jenny carried echoes of joy mixed with sorrow. Through familiar streets she wandered, each step pressing on old wounds. Places where laughter lived now whispered silence instead. Her mind drifted to vows spoken softly under warmer skies. Dreams built together began crumbling like dried earth. Yet amid the ache, something else stirred, quiet but firm. The past poured into her thoughts, relentless and raw. Still, the person standing there was no longer who she used to be. Pain had shaped her, reshaped her, without asking permission. Love, she saw clearly now, does not demand sacrifice of self. Peace matters more than clinging to what drains it away. She breathed out, then stepped forward, not looking back. One day, Jenny put her foot down. Out went the draining bond that had worn her thin, gone, like smoke and wind. Healing waited ahead, along with pieces of herself she'd forgotten. Tough? Yes. Still, stepping away felt true. When Jenny stepped onto the plane heading west, the truth of what she'd done began to press against her chest. Leaving Sumit behind hurt, yet freedom hummed beneath her skin just as strong. Though the road forward would demand more than she expected, she felt steady inside. Facing blank horizons set heavy on one hand, rebuilding stood firm on the other. Heartache lingered, stitched through with lies once trusted, now torn apart by time and choice. Back in the US, things started shifting slowly. Family showed up first, then old friends, their voices weaving through the quiet moments when she doubted everything. Her value didn't depend on someone who left bruises behind, emotional ones, invisible but deep. Strength wasn't something she needed to fake, it already lived in how she kept going. Worth wasn't earned by enduring pain, it bloomed where kindness grew instead. Weeks passed before Jenny finally paused, just to breathe. Her attention shifted inward, toward healing, toward moments that made her smile without effort. Once tangled in the noise of what she shared with Sumit, she now untangled piece by piece. A gym session here, a train ride there, small steps pulling her forward. Conversations with strangers turned into laughter, plans formed slowly, space opened where something else might grow, someday, if it ever did. Yet Jenny stayed slow. Day by day unfolded without hurry, since mending wasn't quick. Sometimes old hurt pushed up again, times when the memory of him, once believed to be her match, pulled at her chest. Still, every instance brought back the choice carved deep, she picked her own name first. Walking away wasn't the end, just the moment she stepped out of shadows cast by someone who took too much. That quiet decision opened space for breath, for standing straight without weight on her shoulders. From there, forward motion began, not fast, not loud, but sure. Jenny still had miles to go. Though new hurdles waited ahead, she wasn't the person who stepped off the plane back then, dreaming of magic endings. Strength had grown in her bones, lessons settled behind her eyes, while a quiet fire pushed her toward calm days and kindness turned inward. Sumit's path ahead depended entirely on himself. Facing what came next meant dealing with decisions already made, owning up to missteps, then slowly piecing things back together, Jenny absent from that journey. She gave every effort possible, yet stepping away became necessary. Moving forward, answering for past errors fell solely to him. If forgiveness ever arrived, it wasn't something she'd wait around to witness. Attention shifted inward, to mending, to paths unfolding beyond shared history. Maybe you saw yourself in Jenny's story. Perhaps leaving something harmful behind felt familiar. Or maybe standing tall after pain just makes sense to you. Give this video a thumbs up, should it feel close to home. Drop a line underneath, what path might you have taken, faced with her moment? Stay connected by joining our channel, where others share how they rebuild. Tap the bell symbol when you want updates sent straight through. Gratitude runs deep for walking here together. Facing tough moments? You still hold power to pick your path. Life does not decide that for you, your choices do. What matters comes down to one thing, standing by yourself, even when it feels hard. Building a future worth living starts there.